Micah Parsons, who you teased, I think earlier during your intro during the show. It's some inner beef. It sounds like with teammates here. Malik Hooker, I believe, called out Micah on a podcast. I want to say, basically saying, "Here we go, right here. If we're at work and the run game is terrible, but you're doing a podcast, what are you really caring about?" And then Micah responds, "Wish you would have said this to me."
All right, hold on. Let me get some clarity. This guy plays on the same team?
Yes.
Right now.
Teammates.
They're
Malik
teammates
Hooker,
right
the teammates. I'm pretty. Let me double check. I'm pretty positive. Unless he got traded. Malik Hooker, I think, is on the Cowboys. He used to be on my coach years ago. Yes, he's the safety for the Cowboys right now, which is why Micah said, "I wish you would have said this to me instead of a podcast." That's why Micah said that. They're teammates.
Okay, what else? Was there any more to that? Is it?
We got a video. Badly going to do your thing.
Thing would be though, for Micah, my advice would be for Micah would be, just make sure we're all right, where and being where your feet are. Because if we're at work and the run game's terrible, but you're doing a podcast every week and the run game is terrible, then what are you really caring about? Are you caring about the crowd that is watching your podcast? Are you caring about the success of our team in the Super Bowl that we're trying to reach? See what I'm saying? So
Damn, podcasts are getting to be truth tellers for everybody, I guess. You never would have seen this before, I don't think. I don't know.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, that's foul.
I've seen former players do that to players, you know what I'm saying? We've seen certain players leave a team and talk shit about somebody and then we probably go back and say, "Oh shit, there was a lot of hate there." But current team,
and not just teammate, like Malik is the starting safety. These are two of your, I mean, Mike is a whole category, but these are two of your very important players on your defense, bro. Like,
well, give your take. I'll give my.
Listen. I think this is 100% foul. As someone who played the game, who had teammates, obviously we all play sports at some point, had teammates. This is like rule number -1. You don't never publicly go against your teammate like this or take a jab at your teammate, because basically what you're doing is right now is it's almost like you're blaming Micah Parsons for the lack of success a little bit. The example he used was, if our run game is shitty and you're over here on the podcast, what you really care about? Like, what? That's what you're saying right now? Like, you're listen, even if people in the chat or if, JB may even, if you agree with the actual comment itself, two things can be true too, right? So, okay, cool. You might agree with this comment, but at the same time, it don't need to be out in the public. You don't need to be on a podcast. You don't need to be on social media. Again, this is your teammate, your locker room mate, from what I read. Go to him and talk to him. Go chat with him. Go, hey, bro. Hey, we teammates, we homies. You are a leader on our team, Micah. We need you in order to really make it to that next step. Can we focus more on this or focus more on that? And they could have been like handling it as men. To me, this is a coward move. This is a non-brotherly move, a non-teammate move. And it's a stupid move because, again, these are two important pieces to your team, to your defense. And now when they go into training camp, it's going to be weird energy. It's going to be weird energy from the jump. And I get it. It's a safety and a D lineman, but still, it's about camaraderie, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to a team, especially on the same side of the ball. And you got two starters right here on different pages. People are going to be picking sides. I can see this being like a bigger issue. Now, I know it seems petty, but I'm telling you, man, once you make stuff public, these players are emotional. They get in their feelings. And it can lead to like just way bigger issues, man. I wish Malik Hooker didn't say that.
Listen, this is the generation, bro. I hate to keep saying that shit, but I'm just telling you, this is something I don't know if we would have saw before. It would have been a locker room discussion that we're used to see people get scrap, like real men used to fight. I don't know if you remember. You're too young, Smitty, but Brian Westbrook knocked out not Vernon Day. Who was the tight end, man, for the Washington Redskins at the time? The receiver Westbrook, forgot the name, but he knocked him out and was just drilling his ass. It was on camera. You could find it somewhere, I'm sure. But a practice, like with pads on, took their helmets off and beat his ass. And it was shit like this. That's what would have happened. Nowadays, they go to podcasts and Stephen Davis, yeah. They go to podcasts and they start to do this. let me just throw this out there. Let me ask you something real quick. Do you think somebody would have said that about anybody that held down the locker room on a respect level? Like, my point is, like, I don't even want to say Tom Brady because we know that as quarterback. Let's just talk Lawrence Taylor or some type of big Julius Peppers or fucking Bosa even or one of these guys like Max Crosby. Don't you think those guys have a respect factor level in the locker room to where there's no way? You imagine the other DN for the Raiders going on a podcast talking about fucking Max Crosby in this manner?
Right.
Because Max does a show now. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
There's a factor, I think. There's a level here of some that's missing. Reports came out a couple months ago that the locker room doesn't respect him, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I could see him being moved and blah, 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 blah. That came out in the news. I'm on the record, I don't know, last year, I think, during this show when you first got on, when the NFL season started, and I said, man, I wish you would just play ball and stop this fucking podcast shit the day after a game and talk about players that you just played against for the Eagles and the Niners and all that shit. And you were like, this is the name of the game, which it is. This is the new game, right? Whatever. It's clearly evident, dog, that locker room has so many issues. This Dallas Cowboy team is a fucking debacle. I'm just telling you. It's always something with this team, dog. It's always something. And this guy I've been telling you about, we all can talk about him a freak of nature and all that shit, but the bottom line is he's a nobody on third down in big-time games. He's a nobody when it comes to the run. And he's a freak of nature, which only goes against him in pass rushing situations because he'll run right past the play. He'll run right past the inside handoff on draw. He'll run right past the screen. Like, this is what he does. And I started the show off talking about this kid McCain from Duke that painted his nails and all that shit. He's done like he's going viral for the 76ers already for doing this. Not for hooping. And my point was, I get this is your new thing, but my point is it takes 10,000 hours to perfect something. I don't know if we can be good at a lot of things and great at one thing. I don't think you can. I think you got to be great at one thing, and should be the great thing you should be doing is playing hoop. I get it. You know, it's a couple minutes, JB does a video, blah, blah. I'm just saying, like, the main thing's not the main thing anymore is my point, I guess. And so, I don't know. But the bottom line, okay, fuck all that. Do all your TikToks, whatever. Do your podcast, Micah, whatever. But if somebody calls you out on your team, I think there's a major problem in that locker room. Like, I think there's a major problem in that locker room, Micah Parsons. And I wouldn't be shocked if something goes down. Like, you got to sign Dak Prescott, Smitty. You got to sign your head coach, McCarthy, or you're either going to not sign Dak Prescott and lose your head coach. And Micah falls right with that, in my opinion. There is a culture issue there, and it's a big one. There's just no ifs and buts about it. I just don't think there's – and what he did was foul. I agree with you, but why did he do it? There's a reason why. Like, and I haven't heard anyone else come out and say, like, you're foul for doing it.
Right.
Like,
I feel like we're seeing the end of this Dallas Cowboys team, like this year. Like you said, like I don't see them going to the Super Bowl just because I haven't seen them my whole life. So I think that's
hasn't Emmitt Smith called Mike out about the same shit? Emmitt Smith called him out at Radio Row, Super Bowl Radio Row. He had
Emmitt can do that though.
That's what I'm saying. My point though is like guy that's the last guy to win a title there. Aikman's also a guy on record calling out this type of shit. Like, hey, man, how about we focus on winning a Super Bowl? We haven't won since we left in 95. Why can't we focus on the main thing and make it the main thing? I don't know, dog. But it's not just Micah Parsons. Let's be clear. This is the generation. This is what the whole generation is. And we accept it. Well, at least that age group. That age group accepts it. Everyone thinks it's cool to do a TikTok video or da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, damn, we keep making more money. We keep paying out more money, but we having a lesser and lesser and lesser product on display. That's what just my old head ass is the one stuck on. I'm just stuck on, I can't pay you more money and get less results, homie. It just, we're in a result-oriented life, Smitty. You and I are in a result-oriented business. We're going to fail at this or succeed at it. There's no, well, fuck, man, they would have did it, but, you know, fucking, they got the studio and then it didn't work out and they left and went back home and then they tried it again and then it didn't work. It don't matter what we say. Like, you win or you lose. Like, you win on the football field, you lose on the football field. You fuck the prom queen or you jack off. Like, there's just no in between. And I think people have this gray area life they live. And they think that, well, I gave it a good run. I gave it my best. Your best isn't good enough sometimes, homie. I'm just going to tell you straight up. Like, I just don't see. I don't see it. I don't know. I just think this is what it is. And I guess I won't accept it because that's what everybody does. But it is what it is, too. I can't change it either. So it is what it is. I'm just saying it's a fucked up time to be a sports fan. I'm just going to tell you.